Alright everyone, in this edition of UPTA we are going to talk about failed sabotage and failed AC. And so, what are the items involved in failed sabotage and failed adversity cards being played? Well, we got to go back and we got to make sure we know what those fundamentals are. You know, if you have a sabotage, you can basically maraud other people and you can, for instance, remove a planted crop, like so, or you could remove adversity cards or marker tokens, right? Now, what can a person do to mitigate the disaster of sabotage being played against them? Well, there's two options. First option is the greenhouse, a very mighty card, right? Not a mighty wind, that's Christopher Guest. But we have a greenhouse, and the greenhouse says, you know, its primary function is simply to move the items in the market favorably in your position, or really just whatever you want to do, okay? It's an activity. But its secondary function is to protect against sabotage. What does it protect against sabotage? Well, all it protects is your planted crops in the field. Okay, so let's go over the example. So we have planted crops, and this person has purchased a greenhouse. And now, lo and behold, this person has brought, they rolled a 6, and they're thinking about sabotage over here. Well, according to the rules, if I have a greenhouse over here, it's protecting this planted crop, and the other items that are vulnerable are still vulnerable. They are any marker tokens planted, or any marker tokens placed, and then any adversity cards, right? And so, what are my options here? Well, the safe options are I can remove this marker token, and I could, you know, here's 10 tokens reduced to 5. I can't, notice that in this particular case, I can't remove the adversity card because it has those layers of protection on it. If, however, this card were barren, there's nothing happening here, the adversity card can be returned. It can be sabotaged with the die roll 6, and it gets, it's basically a spent card, and so it gets returned to the discard pile, right? Alright, so that's how I do that. What happens if I schmucked up? Right? You know, common errors in UPTA do have a tendency to rebound against you. Well, in this particular case, I bring the sabotage. I'm like, hey, you need to remove your cucumbers over there, chief. And they're like, not gonna do it. The greenhouse is sitting pretty over here, and it's protecting those cucumbers. It's keeping them warm in the shelter, right? So they can produce their fruits and become very valuable to everyone. So the greenhouse is doing its job, and I brought the sabotage. Well, what's the penalty? I schmucked up, right? So the cucumbers are going to come off of the field. I'm sorry, the cucumbers are going to stay put. They're warm and cozy in the greenhouse. What's going to happen over here is this person says, uh-oh, I messed up. And they have to do essentially a tractor return, allowing the player who was aggrieved, right? The aggrieved party gets to look at my particular weight cube tray and then choose something, an item from it, and remove it from gameplay, which will move its market value up in the farmer's market. And so over here, what do I have a value? This person takes a look-see. It says, oh, you have 2 charred, eh? Well, why don't we get rid of, I don't know. Let's just get rid of one of those charred. And so in this particular case, charred is sitting at the 6th spot. It moves up from the 6th to the 7th. Radishes are inadvertently moved. You know, notice how with every action has a reaction. Well, it's true in UPTA too. The inadvertent party, radishes, moves down a spot. But at this point, so what are we doing? We have the we replaced. Now notice that we had to replace with something of less value than the chart. Whenever there's a tractor return, And whatever gets drawn randomly to replace so that we fulfill the 6 crop minimum rule, we always have to make sure that the drawn crop has to be of less value than the one that was just removed. And so in this particular case, we lost chard, but we gained radishes. Not bad, because it's only 1 step down. Okay, so even though I did lose that chard, they didn't get marauded, and they got to carry out a tractor return, essentially the same penalty as a tractor return against me. Now, notice also at this particular point, once the penalty for a failed sabotage has been assessed, nothing else can happen on this grower's turn. You know, all activities and actions cease, and they lose their turn. Okay, so here I have my wait key tray is full, so that part of the penalty has been assessed, and then nothing else can happen. If let's say I had the trading house or something, I want to use the trading house, can't do it, Chief, sorry, turn is over, and gameplay resumes to the next person. Okay, so that was a failed sabotage against greenhouse. Now, let's repeat this scenario, and let's see what happens if there's a marker token on there, right? How does this change? Well, we're going to repeat our action. Here I have a sabotage opportunity. I'm going to look at their stuff, and I'm going to say, hey, wait just a second there, Chief. Okay, I want to remove their cucumbers again, right? It's a planted crop. Well, I can't do that, and the reason is there's a marker token on top. Can I still sabotage the marker token that is sitting on top of the cucumbers? Right? Well, you know, if you take a moment and think about it, the greenhouse only protects planted crops. So if you have marker tokens of any sort present on your farm, or you have adversity cards, those are still up for sabotage. They're vulnerable, right? And so I have the 6, I say, okay, I see that you have cucumbers, I'm not going after them, but I will go over after the thing on top. So yes, in fact, the marker token does come off. It's a vulnerable item. It's not a planted crop. It's the equivalent of a crop in terms of hunger tokens, though. So you need to be able to understand the difference between the two. This is a marker token, that it carries the same value as a planted crop, but it is not in fact the same. So here we're going to take the marker token off. It's vulnerable to sabotage, and that's all there is to it. No penalties are assessed here. It was not a failed sabotage, but a successful one. Okay, so that takes care of the greenhouse. Well, what's the next step up? How can I protect myself against every type of sabotage, right? All of these different items. Well, the step up from the greenhouse is, you guessed it, farm crew, right? So what's the farm crew do again? It allows you 2 actions for free on your turn, but its secondary function is to protect against every type of sabotage. So once you acquire the farm crew, not only do you have added capacity for farm productivity on your farm, but you also have another level of protection against sabotage from others. So, again, let's say I rolled a 6. Now they have a farm crew. Well, I'm tough out of luck. There's absolutely no sabotage available of any asset thanks to the presence of the farm crew, right? Okay, so that takes care of sabotage. Now we're going to talk about playing adversity cards, or rather, failed adversity cards played on others. So what does that look like again? Well, over here, we're going to set up our example. In this particular corner, we have a nice setup. We have the organic sprayer. Okay. Primary function of the organic sprayer is to protect against fungal and pest adversities. And if you know your adversity cards well, and you should, once you play the Advanced Upta, in this particular deck, there's 7 adversities that are pest and fungal related. There's 13 cards altogether encompassing the entire adversity realm, okay? And so, you know, the organic sprayer will protect you against 7 out of 13 of these calamities, so it's a pretty nice card to have. But just like the greenhouse, it also has a secondary function. And that secondary function is it protects it from adversity cards that are played on the grower by others. So grower number 1 sitting over here and grower number 2, if they play their cumulative adversity cards, and this person has the organic sprayer, it's the same status. The organic sprayer protects against pest and fungal attacks by others. And so if I'm sitting over here, they have the organic sprayer, and I say, hey chief, we got fungal infestation going on over here. You need to return 3 crops to uncultivated status, right? And so if they did that, let's say the peas were ripe. Can I do that? No. Why not? They have the organic sprayer is why. And so what happens from here? Well, just as in a failed sabotage, we take this card, it's nullified and void, it returns to the discard pile. So it's been eradicated from gameplay for now. And they don't assess any penalty, but however, as the attacking partner, grower number 2 over here has to do essentially the equivalency of a tractor return. Just like in failed sabotage, the aggrieved party gets to see what's in the weight cue tray, and then they get to remove an item of their choice. In this case, I don't know. Why don't we take their cucumbers? It's sitting in the top spot for now. And then as the attacking party that failed with my adversity card, I have to draw from the bag. Just like failed sabotage, I grab what I want. However, it does have to be of less value than the thing that just got removed, which is cucumbers. That shouldn't be too hard. It's broccoli. And by the way, what if we have an undercut crop sitting down here? What is the value of the kale, right? Is it 60 or is it 1, right? Well, it should make sense that acquiring kale at this point would be extremely valuable for this particular grower. And so no, the kale is not worth the undercut value that it has, but it has the face value that it has in the market. And what is that value? Right now it's 1, not 60. Okay, so that's an extremely important point to consider when assessing penalties in input. And so if I were to grab kale, I wouldn't be able to do it, and I would have to continue looking for more items. Anything that's of less value than cucumbers and the kale at 60 tokens, right? Okay, so that takes care of a failed adversity card with the organic sprayer. So the next example is, well, they don't have the organic sprayer, but now they have the next level up. And what's the next level up? Just like in the regular game, it's crop insurance, okay? Crop insurance, again, has 2 functions in the game. Primary function is to protect against all adversities. Well, it also has the same effect when others bring their adversities against you. It's pretty much the same concept. Okay? So now I have to follow the example through again. So I have a productive farm roll. I'm ready to bring the sabotage. And now my decision making is multi-leveled and varied, right? Because I can immediately assess who else is playing me. Over here, let's say this person has an organic sprayer. Over here they have crop insurance. So, what are my choices? We got partial protection here. We got full protection over here. So, where am I going to direct my attack? How do I do that successfully? Well, I got to do a check down on my list. Got to make sure I'm savvy and say, are these pest and fungal attacks, or are they of a different nature? Well, in this particular case, I have both. I have a pest attack, and then I have a Mother Nature attack, basically, right? And so I have to be savvy and careful which player should receive this attack, or which player should receive this attack, right? So I gotta be thinking about this. If I bring the flea beetle attack on multiple players, over here we have organic sprayer. This one is protected against this. Okay, so does that mean I can still play this adversity card over here if I play it on both players? Right? So I think I can. I'm going to say this particular card does not apply to you, but it only applies over here. So you need to remove your piece. Uh-oh, this is a mistake. And check it out. Why is it a mistake? Because the crop insurance is protecting them from all adversities. So, oops, I schmucked up. Now I'm going to pay for it, right? So, how do I pay for it? I lost the card again. And then we do another audit, basically. This player over here is the aggrieved party, so they get to see my stuff. And, you know, what should they take? Anything they want. Let's do broccoli this time. I lost my broccoli. That's a very difficult penalty. Now I have to grab something of less value than broccoli from the draw bag. It's going to be spinach, right? So spinach comes out of the bag, and then that's the end of my turn. I can't do anything else. I forfeited my turn by bringing a failed adversity card on someone who had full protection with crop insurance. So always got to be thinking, you know, you're going to go on the warpath. Better do the checklist, check those bases, make sure everything's covered, right? Because you certainly don't want anything to rebound against you inadvertently, right? Okay, so again, we had an unsuccessful attack here. It sounds like we probably should have brought the attack over here, but they had the organic sprayer. If, you know, now we're doing a post-game analysis. If I had brought the drought card, this person would have been protected, but I could have played it exclusively in this corner. Let's say I had the drought card, and then yes, they would have to remove their cucumbers. Why? Because they don't have any marker tokens on top of it, and so their cucumbers were vulnerable. The cucumbers would come off. In this particular case, they occupy the 12 spot, so they don't move up in value. And then I can resume my play with actions and activities because no penalty was assessed against me, the attacker, right? And so, like I said, I could finish out my turn, finish up any loose ends, and so that was a successful adversity card distributed among the right person. I didn't direct my attack over here because I knew they had crop insurance, right? So that is something that will definitely keep you on your toes and increase the level of intensity and fun to be had by all. Okay, so that takes care of failed sabotage and failed adversity, the in-depth analysis, and I do hope future sessions of UFTA will yield even more pleasurable results for you and everyone. So thank you.